All right, we're back. Hello, VIPs. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me see your hands. All right, at least I see some of them. All right, fantastic. Some people were asking, can they pay, if they already got a general admission ticket, can they upgrade by paying the difference? Somebody, if you can answer that in the chat. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm pretty sure Marina says yes, you can. So just contact support at networkmarketingpro.com and they'll take care of you. Yes, they'll take care of you. I was reading yesterday. They'll take care of you when you get a hold of them. Okay. The times are approximately 9 to 5, somewhere around there, Pacific time. Okay, 9 to 5 Pacific time to for those 3 days, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of December. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Bring everything I've learned from the last 36 years, and especially what I've learned in the last 12 months. A lot of things are changing in our profession. You feel the change? You feel things changing in the profession? Put a 3 in the chat if you feel the change. A lot of things changing. And you got to be up for what's working right now. And I'm going to be sharing all that with you. So I can't wait to see you there. I'm assuming most of you, if you're VIP here, you're probably going to be at GoPro. If you're not, I think you're nuts. But I love you anyway. So I'm going to argue with you, like the objections. I'm going to argue with you, call you crazy. That was fun. I'm remembering some of my old objections. Oh, you're one of those people was one of my favorites. People are like, what are you talking about? Oh, you're one of those people. One of those people who just makes up their mind about something and then just closes themselves to all the facts. And, you know, anyway, let's get into questions. You can put questions. The VIP sessions, all the VIP sessions are recorded, and you'll have access to all that stuff. The GoPro event for a VIP ticket is $197 just for you guys, and that's for the next 3 days until the 18th, I think. So the 18th, end of the day on the 18th, I think, midnight on the 18th. So you have over the weekend to get it all figured out. Okay. So let's get to questions. If you want to post some questions, you can try in the chat. It's a little harder for me to keep up there, but Alexi, if you see some in the chat that would be good for me to answer, I'll answer. If there are any kind of supporty type stuff or customer service type stuff, just go to support at networkmarketingpro.com. They're going to answer you better than I can. They're my third party. Because all I'm going to do is say something that's wrong. They'll answer you with the actual right stuff. So just go to support at networkmarketingpro.com and they will answer that for you. Let's see. On the circle of time, 6 to 9 or 9 to 12, is that AM or PM? You pick. Doesn't matter. Just get the metaphor. Understand the metaphor. The metaphor is there are some times when people are ready and sometimes when people are not. Sometimes when people are open and sometimes when people are not. Have you ever had a time in your life that even if it was a golden opportunity, you're just not ready for it? You're mourning the loss of a loved one, or you're going through a difficult challenge in your life, or you got a deadline at your business or your work, and you don't have the space to even let anything in. So just understand that as a concept. Okay. Have you ever had to remove somebody from your team, and why? Of course. I'll give you a short course on what to do with problem children. Okay. Anybody have any problem children in their group? Have you ever had a problem child in your group? Put an 8 in the chat, or 6. You got to use a 6 for a problem child. Put a 6 in the chat if you've ever had a problem child. Okay. This is a lesson on leadership. We'll talk about it a little bit more at GoPro, but I'll give you a short course on it right now. The best defense against bad behavior is a fast offense. I'll say that again. The best defense against bad behavior is a fast offense. In other words, the first moment it raises its little head and you see it for the first time, you have to respond. There's a saying, I think I made it up, but I'm not sure. Kill the monster when it's a baby. The monster being the behavior, not the person. Before it grows into a dragon and starts breathing fire, squash it when it just comes out of the egg. The behavior, not the person. Okay? Same as you do with your children. If you see really bad behavior, you're not going to let it repeat over and over, are you? If it's dangerous or if it's completely out of control, like, no. First time, no, there's consequences for that. Because if you allow a child to just be out of control, they're going to keep being out of control. So I'll talk about downline first, and then we'll talk about upline. So the best defense is a fast offense. In other words, challenge it immediately. Go to them with compassion and respect and say this, those two words are very important, compassion and respect, and say this behavior does not align with the values of our organization. And it's something that just can't happen here. Let's say somebody stole somebody from somebody else's downline, signed up their spouse and moved an organization or something. Or somebody is married and sleeping around with everybody at every convention. Or they're getting sloppy drunk at every company conference in front of the team. Or they're being a bully to somebody. They're being mean to somebody. Or they're spreading negativity amongst the broader group instead of expressing it in more productive ways. It could be small things, it could be big things, right? Have compassion and respect and privately, not publicly, privately say, this doesn't align with our values. Can we please have a conversation about this? Let's say somebody is an addict and has a problem. Have respect for the problem. A lot of people have addiction problems. And says, listen, I'm not judging you, and your journey is your journey, but it's important that we don't exhibit that behavior in front of the group. So if we're at the convention, do what you need to do, but do it privately, not in front of everybody. And I'm going to try and protect you and your reputation and the team and the team's reputation by, when I see it going in the wrong direction, I'm going to just kindly try and help you find a way in the other direction, So you can head off a lot of monsters by just challenging it the first time it shows up. The first time it just trickles across your mind. Should I talk to them? Yes. Yes, you should. And you might think, who am I? Who am I to talk to, who am I to be the police? Well, that's what leaders are. And you don't have to outrank them to say that this doesn't align with the values. So this just doesn't work. I'll give you an example. When we used to do live meetings at hotels, we used to do a presentation. It was like 45 minutes, really tight presentation. And at the end of the presentation, we'd have testimonials, and everybody would go a maximum 1 minute testimonial. And it'd be like 8 testimonials. There was a guy who joined, and he was a big shot from like venture capital. And he signed up a bunch of people. Everybody was talking about this guy in Minneapolis where I lived. And he went up to give his first testimonial, and he went for like 10 minutes and did another presentation. When the standard was 1 minute, because we're trying to show as many backgrounds as possible and get, have it be quick. Okay. He goes 10 minutes. I watched my mentor. He was just like, oh no, this is terrible. So he pulls him aside, and the guy's name was Guy. He said, Guy, the purpose of these testimonials is to show a bunch of backgrounds so somebody in the audience can relate to everybody. So we try and have somebody from business, somebody who's a stay-at-home mom, and we try and have a student, we try and have young, we try and have old, we try and have women and men and ages and backgrounds and ethnicities and all the different kinds of things. It's not to do the presentation again. So please, can you keep it to 1 minute? He said, well, I have a lot of people here. Yeah, I understand. And I've done a lot of things. I get it. But that's not the purpose of this. There'll be an opportunity for you to be able to tell your bigger story if you want. You can do your own meetings if you want. But if you want to be part of this meeting, be part of this team, it's 1 minute. Guy says, okay, I got it. Next week comes around. Guy goes up to do a testimonial again. He goes for 15 minutes. My mentor's losing his mind. And he says, Guy, we talked about this. We said 1 minute. If you go over a minute again, I can't let you up in front of the room at all. Do you understand? And I want you to be up in front of the room. And I want you to be part of this. But if you go over, I can't let you go up in front of the room again. Do you understand the purpose of what we're doing here? He said, yeah, okay, I get it. So the next week comes around. And he goes up again, and he goes for 3 minutes. And he's so proud of himself because he improved so much. And my mentor, Michael, says, Guy, I've told you twice, this is the third time. I can't let you in front of the room anymore. He said, but I did so much better. It was 3 minutes. He said, you're clearly not understanding what we're talking about, and you're not understanding the values of what we're trying to do here and why we're trying to do it. So you're welcome to go start your own meeting, but in this room, you can bring guests, but you're not going to be in front of the room. I'm sorry. So he got in a big huff, and he left, and he started his own meeting, which was fine. Started his own meeting, went across town and did his own thing. Totally fine. But it was better to have somebody leave that's productive than stay and ruin your culture. Now you might say, that sounds like an overreaction for a performer. He was recruiting a lot of people. He was bringing in a lot of people. Well, I don't think you can overreact. Little things are big things, right? Little things are big things. Somebody's a bully, somebody's a gossip, whatever. It's the same thing. You escalate, and if you can't solve it, then go get a bigger hammer. Your hammer might not be big enough. They might not be able to hear it from you. You might need to have somebody else say it. You might need a third party to go to your problem child and say, this needs to stop. And if the bigger hammer doesn't work, you can take it all the way up. If it's unethical, if it violates company policies and procedures, even if it's in your organization, you might have to take it to the company. If there's a cancer inside your body, even if it's tiny, how long are you going to let it stay? Not very long, right? I mean, let me show you. I'll show you something. See this? This is a scar. It's just healing. It was 2 weeks ago. I had a small basal cell carcinoma. You could not even see it. It was infinitesimally small. But I go to the dermatologist because I'm fair skinned and was in the sun too much as a kid. I go every 3 to 6 months, and he found it and cut it out. Gone. So tiny and gone. And it cleared all the margins, and I'm happy. You think I'm going to let it just sit there? Same thing's true with bad behavior in your organization. Escalate it until it's solved. Escalate it until it's solved. And you can't overreact to something that is potentially destructive in your organization. It's impossible. Okay? Okay. Jay says, I'm in the health and wellness space. If I were cold calling fitness trainers with health supplements, do you have a suggested possible script to use? Hi, Jay from San Francisco. Here's what I will tell you, Jay. I've never cold called. Not really. I mean, in the early days, I kind of did by like walking through malls and doing super uncomfortable stuff when I thought that I ran out of prospects. But that's just before I learned how to build an active candidate list. Once I learned the skill of how to never run out of people to talk to, then I never had to do a cold call again. I can either today you can connect with somebody, you can friend them up, and you can start a conversation. It doesn't have to be cold, like out of the blue, to pitch them supplements. Start a conversation, build a relationship, start a conversation, continue the conversation, look for the pivot point, and when the pivot point shows up, talk to them about your product or talk to them about your business. That's what I would do today. And get better at finding people and building relationships. Right? Yeah, calling people who don't know you out of the blue. I mean, I can't think of something that would make me more uncomfortable. But I can start a conversation with anybody. So I see you, Jay. How you doing? Good to see you. So you could start a conversation with anybody. I mean, put in the chat, Jay. Tell me something that you love. Any passion you have. Hiking? All right, let's just leave it at hiking. How many groups do you think you can join that are super passionate about hiking? How many groups do you think there are? On Facebook alone. Thousands. You can join all of those groups. You can bring value to those groups. You can talk about your best hiking trails and your best hiking equipment and stuff that you loved. You can comment on their stuff. You can friend them up. You can find people who hike in your area, go hiking with them, and build relationships with them while you're being outdoors. I mean, the world is at your fingertips. You just got to go start a conversation with them. So that's where I would go with it. Making sense? All right, hope that makes sense. You're welcome, Jay. What should a really productive daily method of operation look like? I'm going to give you maybe a controversial answer. I'll give you the standard answer. And then I'll give you what I do, which is different than the standard answer. Okay? I like to study what actually works with people versus what people talk about. So here's the standard answer. Every day, use the product. If it's appropriate to use every day, use the product. Every day, share the product. Every day, share the opportunity. Every day, promote an event of some sort. And every day, engage in some personal development. Okay? Use the product, share the product. Use the service, share the service. If you can, if it's appropriate. Share the opportunity. Promote the next event. Engage in personal development. That's the standard answer. Okay? Now let me give you what I do, because I'm super rebellious against anything structured. I don't know if you're like me. Anybody like me that's just rebellious against structured authority? Like if they tell me I have to do something, I mean, like the speed limit, it's just a suggestion. It's not a real thing. I can't remember driving the speed limit unless there's a cop literally behind me. I can't remember. I'm just rebellious to structured authority. So how did I get so productive, and how did I teach people how to be productive? Here's how. I treat everything like a project. Everything. So if I have a project has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's satisfying for me emotionally. So this 3-day challenge, I'm treating as a project. So it's good. It had a beginning yesterday. It's got a middle today. It's got an end tomorrow. Its goal is to hopefully you guys, get value and attend GoPro. Get a VIP ticket for GoPro or come in person. And for sure that you attend this branding challenge that we're going to have next month on the 11th through the 13th, which is going to be the most outrageous challenge we've ever done. We might have 250,000 people on that thing with the celebrities that are going to be on there sharing all their secrets for the first time. It's crazy. So that's my project. So here's what my day looks like. Get up, work out, get myself ready, come do this event. Afterwards, meet with my producer. We go through the slides. We plan to review. We review what's going on. Today when we're done, we're going to talk about what needs to happen. This is the list of people attending the branding challenge. So what needs to happen to organize all of this stuff so my team can start organizing all of those people, because it's a lot of people to organize over the course of 3 days. So we're going to talk about that. And then I've got a little bit of writing I need to do this afternoon. I'll have dinner. I'll go to bed. I'll get up tomorrow. I'll work out. I'll do this challenge again. We'll plan to do a review afterwards, and then we'll start promoting hard the branding challenge. That's my 3 days. And then guess what the next thing's going to be? I'll treat a day like a challenge. I'll treat my workouts like a project. I'm sorry. I'll treat a workout like my workout schedules like a project. Like I'm super, super into my physical fitness lately. So it's a project. I have a Whoop band right here. And my project every day is there's a number that I'm supposed to hit that's optimum. As far as strain on my body, my project for today is to make sure the day doesn't go by unless I hit that strain number. And if I can pass it, I'm going to pass it. So that's my project for that. Right? So I treat everything like a project. GoPro's like a project. The branding challenge is like a project, which has taken on a life of its own. I'm going to Uzbekistan to do a conference a week from Friday. So that's going to be a project. I know what about a new book? It's on my list, but I've got a college weekend, go see our son at his college this Saturday. That's a project, right? So Sunday, my Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the Detroit Lions. That's a project. And I'm going to chill a little bit on Sunday because next week's going to be crazy. So I just treat everything like a project. That's my DMO. I'm going to drive based upon whatever project I'm working on. So if yours is to get 10 recruits, if yours is to rank advance, if yours is to, what's so great about our business is there's always the next thing that you can do. There's always the next thing. There's the next rank, there's the next trip, there's the next income level. So I would treat it like a project. Vikings going to beat the Lions, I'm telling you. They're the truth. And I love the Lions. And if it's not the Vikings, I want the Lions to take the Super Bowl because I grew up in Detroit. But come on, Vikings never had it, ever. It's our turn. It's our turn. Steelers, not happening. Not this year. Anyway, I treat everything like a project. Think about this. Think about doing the same. Rise of the Entrepreneur, is that a good promo video for a first video to send? Not usually. It's a little bit too long. It's a little bit dated. Rise of the Entrepreneur. It's a good belief building tool for an existing team member more than it is a prospecting tool. That's what I found for Rise of the Entrepreneur. Can you send a video that you made of your own as a third-party tool? It sounds crazy, but it's good for a funnel. 100%. 100%. That's what I did. I'll tell you one of how I finally learned about third-party tools is something happened with my company and there was a big news and there was a big launch, okay? So I decided I was going to go on a 90-day run. My first 90-day run. Okay, it happened a long time ago. But I decided I was going to start on September 1st, and I was going to go for 90 straight days, all out, everything I had. Only income-producing activity. I wasn't going to allow any distractions in my life. I was going to put my head down, and I was going to do an outrageous amount of work. And what I ended up doing, this is the truth, I was making just barely six figures at the time. And I started September 1st. And I went 90 straight days. 8 a.m. I started every day and I went till midnight every day. I talked to one coast in the morning. I talked to the other coast in the evening. And it was all income producing activity. And I wore my throat out. I could not talk. My phone had to be plugged into the wall because it was going dead so fast. 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for 90 straight days. Only income producing activity, only conversations. Talking to people, following up, finding people to talk to, presenting, overcoming objections, taking them to the next exposure. And in my first 30 days, I recruited a bunch of people and I told them, just send your people to me and I'll connect your people to me. Let me give you the punchline first. Guess how much I made the next year? I was making barely six figures, about eight or 9,000 a month when I started September 1st. And first of all, I found out that nobody works 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Nobody in the world. Somebody might work 16 hours one day and talk to everybody about it for 10 weeks, but they don't do it every day. I did it every day. And it's pretty lonely. There's nobody there when you start. There's nobody there when you finish. And everybody calls you crazy the whole time. But the next year, I made $980,000. I went from 9,000 to like 90,000 a month. So was that 90 days worth it? Yes. Will many people do it? No. They won't. I actually have a training called the 90-day game plan where I break it all down. But anyway, 30 days in, I've recruited 20, 30 people. And I'm telling them, just bring your people to me. I'll be the third party. Just bring them to me. Bring them to me. Bring them to me. Bring them to me. Connect me with 10 people a day. So that's like 200-300, right? And we're running hard. And it got so bad that people were just having their prospects call me. And I'd answer the phone. Hi, this is Eric. And they're like, hi, Eric. My name's John. And Victoria told me I should talk to you. I said, okay. Has Victoria shared anything about what we're doing? Nope, I have no idea. I'm like, oh. So Victoria's like having people call me and I have to like start from scratch. All right, well, let me share the presentation with you. And I'd go through this thing. So this started to become a trend. So like, I can't do this. There's not enough time in the day. We're trying to run. So I made an audio. This was back in the time when they had like freeconferencecall.com. And I made an audio recording of about an 8 or 9 minute presentation. An audio recording. It said, hi, this is Eric Worre. And I made a local number that people could three-way their prospects into that presentation. And they three-wayed people into that recording. It said, hi, this is Eric Worre. Thanks for hopping on. The person who asked you to be on this obviously thinks a lot of you. And I look forward to talking to you. But let me tell you a little bit about what we've got going. And I would do a little 8 minute presentation. And if this holds any value for you, if this captures your imagination at all, just have the person who got you on this recording to connect you to me, because I'd like to talk to you, answer any questions. So I just had my team set a goal to have three-way into 10 or 20 of those every single day. And whoever had more questions, then three-way to me. Then I'd say, well, what did you like best? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? You know, realistically, how much would you need to earn per month? You know, I would just go through those questions and I'd help them close or set up the next exposure. So it saved my voice. So, I mean, I literally had, by the last 30 days, I was probably doing 50 to 100 of those a day that people had three-wayed into a presentation and then connected to me. 50 to 100 a day. And the group was exploding in every direction. And all I was doing was income producing activity. We were just like a machine. Bang, 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 bang. So and guess what? Back to the question. I used that audio on my own prospects. I said, listen, I have an audio recording of me. Would you be okay listening to it? Because it kind of lays it all out and it'll save my voice. Is that cool? They'd say, sure. All right, fine. I'd three-way them in, put it on speaker, wait for it to be done. I'd say, okay, what'd you like best? I use myself as third party because it was a tool. And it was teaching them that they could do what I just did with them. So can you create that? Yes. The answer is yes. When we have a response stop, I know to back off and contact in the future, delete their contact. I don't know. I mean, look, if somebody just says, look, I'm not interested, no problem. My goal is not for you to join. My goal is for you to understand. And if this is not for you, no problem. Is it all right if we stay in touch and just keep you updated as to what's going on? If there's any progress, if anything's going on, if anything's happening? I mean, our friendship doesn't have to be just a business, type of a thing. Can we just, is it all right if we stay in touch? And I'm just going to keep the conversation going. If somebody says, stop, you're offending me, you're pushing too hard. I mean, you don't need to push so hard. If anybody's offended or if anybody's avoiding you, you made them feel uncomfortable. You need to go apologize. And say, sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. That wasn't my intention. I just got excited. Let's just take the business off the table. Let's just be friends, okay? Let's just be friends. Everything cool? Let's be friends. Let's put down our weapons and let's just be friends. Because the door will open again. You don't know where the clock dial is. Wait for the door to open again. When it opens again, I got to tell you, we have this new product. It's unreal what it's doing for people. If I sent you a video, would you check it out? Or you can do like I did with the challenge. Hey, I need a favor. I promise it's not hard. And they say, what is it? Would you just look at this video and tell me if you think this product will sell? It's just 3 minutes long. Yeah, all right, fine. And I've accomplished my goal, education. Okay. Al Rodriguez, I'm fluent in Spanish and English. Speaker, what's your best advice as to focusing in Spanish here in the United States and or Colombia, Mexico? If I'm bilingual, I'm gonna be focused and probably have pages in both languages. I'd have a social media page in English. I'd have a social media page in Spanish. I would go after both markets for sure, 100%. Talwinder says, what is the best way to keep emotions in check? This is one of the most emotional businesses you will ever be in your life. I don't know of a more emotional business than our business. I'm sure there are. I don't want to over dramatize this, but this is highly personal. This is highly emotional. I'm sure there's others. I'm not trying to win a competition as far as who has the more emotional career. But I'll just say that this is emotional and it's lonely and it can be a struggle sometimes, and it's not always, you can have headwinds and you can get punched in the face emotionally. You can get gut punched. You can get stabbed in the back. All kinds of stuff can happen. I learned how to discipline my disappointment. I learned how to discipline my disappointment. At the beginning, if something bad happened, I couldn't move for like a week. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. And I just learned that most of that is self-torture. I didn't have to be down for a week. And eventually it would only bother me for like 3 days. And then eventually it only bothered me for like a day. And then eventually it only bothered me for like 3 hours. Then eventually it only bothered me for like an hour. And then eventually it didn't bother me. And look, I've learned to move on from some of this stuff. Dana White, UFC president, one of the best entrepreneurs on planet Earth, in my opinion. He truly does not give a you-know-what about any critic. And he's having shots thrown at him all the time. He doesn't care at all. And I've learned so much. I had this morning, I was as mad as I've been in maybe 6 months. This morning, I had a very good friend, I thought, post something on social this morning that was a complete lie. And like really took a shot at my reputation. That was totally, completely out of the blue untrue. And I'm like, what in the world? So I messaged them, said, husband and wife, said, we're friends, right? This is not cool. So either take it down or I'm going to know where our relationship status is. They didn't take it down, they doubled down. So you know what I did? I said, lose my number. I blocked their numbers. I blocked their accounts. They're done. Later, I'm not gonna go roll around in the mud with them. I'm just done. I gave them 2 hours to fix the situation. They doubled down on it, knowing it was a lie. Okay. So that one was, I was hot for like 30 minutes, which is a long time for me. I was hot. But I just said, you know what? You show me who you are. And now that you've shown me, even after being confronted with it, if you don't change the behavior, you show me who you are, I'll believe you. And I wish you the best. Go have a nice life. But don't call me. So that was today. That was today. Now, there was a time where that would bother me for a month. I would argue, I would fight, I would wrestle. And I just learned to discipline my disappointment. Sometimes people are just going to show you their character when they do. And this was egregious enough that I was willing to go to that place quickly. Normally, I'd try and patch it up, but this was so bad. Like, they did it to get some significance. Why would they do that? To get some significance. You know, to become the focus of conversation, I don't know. But learn to discipline your disappointments. People will let you down. Companies will let you down. Your upline will let you down. Your crossline will let you down. Your friends will let you down. Your family will let you down. Learn to discipline your disappointments. I heard something from an old cowboy that said you can tell the size of the man by the size of the problem it takes to get him down. And it changed my life. I heard that one sentence. You can tell the size of the man by the size of the problem it takes to get him down. And every time a problem showed up, I went, is this all the bigger I am? Or am I going to let this rent space in my head? Women too, I know. But I'm just telling you what he said to me. Or he said in a training. and it branded itself right in my brain. And I just refused to let myself wallow in negative emotions. I'd find the next project and just go. I would ask you to do the same thing. Find the next project and don't focus on correcting somebody else's behavior, or just move on. There's 8 billion people in the world. You don't need to hang out with someone. Some of them just are not going to be your cup of tea. That's okay. You know what I mean? Find your tribe. Find the people that make you smile every time you're with them. You know? Find those people. There's plenty of them out there. And you can do that. All right. So, didn't plan on sharing that with you today, but I mean, it happened today. Literally. So, I will admit to having in the back of my head, knowing the fact that karma will come around. And it makes me smile just a tiny little bit. I don't want to but it does make me smile knowing that karma is going to come around and do its thing. I don't have to do anything. That'll take care of itself. Okay? So a little tiny little piece of me is sitting in the back of my head smiling, knowing that that's going to happen. I'm just being honest with you when I share that. All right. Liza Johnson. I'm dropping the ball somewhere. People say yes to the product after I've found their need and pain point. When I ask them about how they want me to get their order, text, card, or phone call, they ghost me. Others order, then back out immediately saying they really don't have the money, or someone told them it's an MLM or it's a scam. I mean, here's what I would tell you. I'm guessing most of this, you're not voice to voice or face to face. You're just all texting. You're all DMing. And that's not a very sticky process. It's people mistrust it a lot. When you get face to face with somebody or voice to voice with somebody, it's going to change. The stickiness of the relationship and the stickiness of that product experience. Okay? So, Liza, are you doing this face-to-face or you're doing it face-to-face and it's still happening? All right. Well, if it's still happening, it's fine. What I would tell you is use the people who are backing out as research. Okay? I want you to go to the people who backed out and to say, hey, can I ask you a question? And don't worry, I don't care if you join and I don't care if you buy. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I just want to know really why. Because you were so interested, you're so, into it, and then all of a sudden you're not. Can you, just for my own research, just for me to understand what was going on in your head, can you tell me why? Because I'm super curious, and I'm not. I just want to learn. Is it something that I did? Is it the product? Because is it really the money? Because it sounded like you needed the product. Help me out. Help me understand what's going on. To anybody that says no, this is great to do. Can you let me know why? Can you let me know why you said no? It would really help me. Just to learn for future, was I annoying? Did I talk too much? Did I not make it clear? Did I make it sound too good to be true? What did I do? You get ghosted on Facebook, they think they're being hacked. There's a lot of scammers out there, man. I get 5 messages a day from some beautiful woman saying hello. It's very obvious what that is. It's somebody in Bulgaria trying to see what they can get out of a guy who lives in Las Vegas. So people are going to be skeptical. That's fine. What do you have to do? Have conversations, and conversations build trust. And the more face-to-face you can get, the more trust you're going to build. And the more conversation you have, the more trust you're going to build. So learn from every experience, okay? So Eliza, just keep learning from every experience. You will find the hole. There's a hole somewhere. And if it's a repeating pattern, if it happens occasionally, it's not a problem. If it happens all the time, it's a problem. And you've got a gap somewhere that you need to find. I don't know what that gap is, but you need to find it. What do you do when somebody says that they'll join and they avoid you when you talk business? They respond to jokes and more personal messages. Again, if you follow the process that I laid out in these last 2 days, you're not going to have that problem. If you go through how I close, if you go through the objections, how I go through them, if you go through what to do after each exposure, you're not going to have this problem. You're going to have more certainty as you go through it. If you go quick to a close, a person's going to say yes, and then they're going to back off, or they've got second thoughts. You don't really have a conversation going. They're feeling pressured, so they'll respond to jokes, which is great. Keep the conversation going. And then at some point, you can just be straight with them and say, did I do something to make you feel uncomfortable with the business opportunity? Because you seemed like you were excited. Did something change? You got something else going on? You get second thoughts? What's happening? You can tell me, it's okay. I mean, all I cared about is that you understand what this opportunity is, not that you join. So keep the conversation going. Just keep the conversation going. All business conversation. I mean, you can't believe with all these influencers that are going to be a part of the branding challenge, just starting the conversations with them over the last 2 days, we have like 15 projects. Like, well, we got to do this together. We got to do this together. We got to do that. And we should do this. And you come on my podcast. I'll come on your podcast. And all this different kind of stuff is going on. You need to meet this person. You need to meet that person. And it's just like all it went from me sending out a text message, hey, I need a favor. I promise it's not too hard, with the smiley face, to all of these people, right? That's where it started. And did some ghost me? Yeah. Did some get the information and then not confirm? Yeah, of course. Some did. Some I'm still working on. I'm still working on Pitbull. I want to get Pitbull because he's a friend. And he'd be cool. Talk about how he built his brand, right? His style and all that. It'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, not many said no. So it's almost all stars, see? Kind of crazy, all business conversation. I'm gonna do a few more questions because tomorrow we'll deep dive, okay? Just do a couple more questions and then we'll get into it more tomorrow. I feel my industry is oversaturated. It's not. I don't even need to see the rest of the question. It's not. There's no such thing as an industry being oversaturated. Marjorie, it's just not. You've got it. There's a hole in what you're doing somewhere, and you need to become like an investigative journalist. You need to find out who's having success, and you need to reverse engineer exactly what they're doing and say exactly what they say and post exactly what they post and follow up exactly how they're following up and use the exact tools that they're using. Because you look like a sharp person to me, Marjorie. You look like you wouldn't have any problem at all. So if somebody else is having success, become an investigator and find out exactly what they're doing versus second guessing yourself, right? And then review your way to excellence. Once you find it, make a plan, do it, review it, what worked, what didn't, make a better plan, do it, review it, what worked, what didn't, make a better plan, do it, review it, and you'll become a master, you'll become an expert. If If somebody else can do it inside your company, you can too. And it's not saturated. Absolutely not. There's no such thing. There's nothing on earth that is saturated. Okay? You can build a business in any segment, any product or service segment you can build. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. Douglas, this is the last question. When building a team, do you always put new members on the first level or do you sometimes stack them? This is very company and comp plan dependent. My default preference is always to go take people front line. That's my default. But there are times or compensation plans that you could still be the enroller, but you place somebody somewhere in the organization. If you can avoid that, I'd avoid it because usually there's unintended consequences. If you stack a couple people underneath one person on your team, is everybody else on your team going to hear about it? Yes. Answer is yes. Are they going to expect it now? Or will they feel like it's unfair? Answer is yes. And if they don't get exactly the same quality of person as the other person got, are they going to feel like you still owe them something? Answer is yes. You got one business to build. You don't have to build everybody's business. I have found they used to talk about, you just stack, and you light the fire at the bottom and then the flame comes up, right? You heard that concept? In my experience, that's not true. If you light a fire at the bottom, everybody else retires and sits back and takes free money. That's been my experience for 36 years. I haven't seen it motivate people to go to work. I've seen it motivate people to see how much money they can get for doing nothing. You got to teach people how to build a business. So just think about it. But I will say I have to give a qualification. Some compensation plans, placement is fine. Sometimes geography, sometimes it's, backgrounds or whatever, people get along. Maybe somebody's on the other side of the world and they're in a different time zone. And they speak a different language and you can connect them with somebody who speaks that language in their market or at least speaks the language. Sometimes that makes sense. Sometimes your comp plan just requires it, right? So, but if you can avoid it, try to always avoid making people codependent. Do everything you can. Avoid it if you can. Okay? Making sense? All right. So I hope this extra session brought value to you. Tomorrow, we'll go a little bit more into in depth when it comes to team building. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about leadership tomorrow as well, how to be a more effective leader. And I may even have a few special guests that are rock star recruiters that can share some of their strategies with you tomorrow. So I'll look forward to seeing you then. Hope you got your GoPro ticket, and I hope you're registered for November 11th through the 13th with the branding challenge. I think that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care. Mwah!